Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you on in this session of our webinar series, The Blogger Zone. Today's session will be about storytelling, the techniques of storytelling. I'm Irfan Gauri. I'm a journalist by profession, and with me is our lead trainer, Ms. Bamaji. She's a university teacher. In our participants, there are people from diverse backgrounds, also from diverse geographical locations. So most of the session would be in English, but if there is any issue about understanding any term, you can ask in Urdu, but most of the session would be in English. As far as our SOPs are concerned, please make sure that your voice is mute. And if there are any questions, you would be raising those questions in the chat box. With this, we start. Madam, I hand it over to you.
Right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am excited, and well, as Sir has already introduced that I am Misbah Majid, and I'll be, teaching you through this session. So, well, today's session is on storytelling, and we'll be covering the features of storytelling. Along with it, we'll be talking a little about how can we bring our audience together. Sir, will you be admitting the
Yes, I will be.
participants?
I'll be doing that. Please, you continue with. I'll be
Okay, thank you.
managing that.
Thank you. Thank you. So here on the screen, we have the agenda of the webinar, which states that number one, we'll be covering what is storytelling, and number two, what are the significant features of storytelling. So for most of you, it might apparently be something known, something already you know, but today we are going to cover it through different aspects, covering different examples, and in the meanwhile, I'll be sharing with you on how can you further incorporate such tips which may bring the readers along with you. So apart from the basic storytelling features, we'll be looking at different examples around us, and we're going to discuss them so to make our stories more interesting. Well, why should we learn storytelling in the first place? So this might be a question in many of many of the participants, and they might be thinking that as to why should we be learning storytelling at all. You may be coming from the background which does not directly relate to this specific topic that we are covering today. But I'm going to give you a little background of storytelling, and it is going to help you in understanding that why are we covering it as a topic at all, or why is it important for any individual out there. So in the first place, storytelling is something which is historical and has been part of the world, I would say, and communication since the very beginning. And when we look at the history of the world, we see that there were different civilizations, especially the Greeks, who were very much into storytelling, and it is considered as one of the social skill. So let me read this quote on the screen. It says, if you can harness imagination and principles of a well-told story, then you get people rising to their feet amid thunderous applause instead of yawning and ignoring you. So no matter you are planning to compose a blog, no matter you're planning to present any video, no matter from whatever background you are a teacher or a journalist, or even if you are an ordinary person with not any, if you won't even relate this particular concept with your profession, even then storytelling, to my understanding, is crucial and basic for anybody to learn, because it is part of the social skills now. According to 21st century skills, it is part of the communication skills. If you're able to communicate well, if you're able to deliver your ideas well and incorporate interesting stories in them, people would pay a lot of attention to you, and you will be the center of attention in that case. So this is something which I have told you apart from the course. Now we are going to move on. Uh, 1 minute. In the meanwhile, what we may do is to make the session interactive. We are going to have your opinions in the chat as to why do you think should we be learning storytelling today, or why do you think is it important? One minute, please. Okay, we are going to have that later, the interactive session. Well, what is a story? So a story or narrative is a connected series of events told through words written or spoken. So simply, a story is a series of events which you may represent in form of written or spoken words. But you need to be careful about some elements of storytelling. So the basic elements of a story are plot, characters, setting, theme, point of view, and tone. We're going to learn each basic element along with its examples and explanation, and then in the middle of that explanation, I will be taking your responses in chat as to whether you have understood or not, and maybe we may discuss some exciting examples which may help us learn. So what is a plot structure? The standard plot structure consists of 5 main elements. Let me first explain you what is the plot in the first place. When you start writing a story, you cannot simply uh, put the different events together and form a story. To make your story meaningful, you have to coherently juxtapose and place meaningful events in a very coherent manner so to create a story. So how to put all those events or arrange all those events in a coherent manner, we need to learn the plot structure, the basic plot structure. The basic plot structure includes exposition, which introduces the character and setting, rising action, something changes, the characters meet a challenge or crisis, climax, the turning point and most exciting part of a story. Falling action is events that follow as a result of the climax. Then resolution or denouement. The end that occurs after a conflict is resolved and a character or characters has or have changed. I'm going to explain it in detail using this simple diagram, which represents the plot of a structure proposed by Aristotle. So, in the beginning of the world, when storytelling started, Greek philosopher Aristotle proposed this simple plot in which he included different elements, and he said that if you bring those elements in one story, there is quite a chance that your story will be successful, or maybe your story will be called as the story in the first place. So looking at the very left hand of our diagram, we see that a simple story or any story can begin with a prologue or exposition or the background or the backstory, in which we open up the story introducing characters, telling about the setting, and then we bring one event which brings a twist, a little change in overall smooth flow of the events. Then we move on and we see that characters are facing some kind of tension or issue. Then there comes a point which is critical and is a twist in the overall story for the audience. So what happens is that there is a sudden turning point and the lives of the characters, or maybe everything, is so suddenly changed that audience is startled. And we come to the point at times that the tension is so heightened that we are stuck, that what will the characters be doing next, or how are they going to resolve the issue. But at the climax point, we come to know that all right, there is a sudden change or twist or turn in the plot, and now starts the falling part of the tension. The tension or the issue or the problem starts resolving, and we come to the point where the problem is solved, either by some external factors or due to the circumstances which happened with the characters, or due to the efforts that are put in by the characters. And in the end, the story is wrapped up usually into happy ending. Now, if you relate this whole plot or structure with any movie or with any drama or play that you watch, you will be able to understand it more clearly. This is how usually the stories are set up. The characters are introduced, the the characters face issue, there is sudden change in all circumstances, then the tension starts releasing, then you go to the resolution, and then usually there is this happy ending. Now, let me explain this to you, that for the beginners, it may be convenient for them to pick up this plot and work on it as it is. But if you know a little about storytelling already and you're creative enough and you have command over your language, what you may do is you may not necessarily be following the same timeline or the plot that is shown here. What you may do is that you may start the story from the climax and go backwards. Or maybe there are few other creative ways adopted by story writers. What do? They start the story from the end and they display the whole story into the memory flashes, and they tell the audience that why the characters are indulged into this certain issue that they're facing at that point in time, and then they resolve it as part of the denouement. So these are the simple elements put in a very placed in or arranged in a very generic way, or in a way in which simply stories are written. You may change them and you may replace and rearrange them according to your own creativity. For example, it is going to be very interesting if you start your story with the climax instead of the exposition. Maybe your readers or audience is going to be interested more, and they will be, when they see the hype or the adventure in which the characters are present, there are more chances that they are going to pay attention more to your story. We're going to move on. So for a story, it is very important to have characters. There are major 4 types of characters, mainly protagonists, the main character whose journey follow throughout the story. Then antagonist, sometimes known as the foil, the character whose goals come up against the protagonist, leading to conflict. Now, the protagonists are actually usually or commonly known as the hero or the heroine of the movie. These are the lead or the central characters who are positive, and they actually are the leading characters upon whom the whole story is comprising. Then comes your antagonist, who is known as villain as well. And his goals are generally against the lead character or the hero, who is positive usually in terms. Okay. Now, what we may observe is that not necessarily all the protagonists face the antagonists as the opposing forces. At times, the opposing force may be the fate of the character, maybe some other external conflicts that he or she is facing. So it is not always very important to have the antagonist as the opposing force. In some stories, we may see that the characters face the opposing force in form of their own fate or in form of their own circumstances that they face. Then there are further two types of characters. One is dynamic character and one is a static character. So the dynamic character is who changes as a result of the events in the story. And the static character is a character who does not change during the course of a story. Now let me give you an example here. Usually, the lead characters are dynamic because their character traits are observed to be changed with each passing event. They learn, they evolve, and they display different types of character traits while they're moving from one event to the other. Or maybe if you compare that character from the beginning till the end, you see that the character is completely changed. For example, I may give you a reference of the Bollywood movies or the Hollywood movies where the character in the beginning is completely innocent, but due to the circumstances which he or she faces, maybe the character changes into evil, and if not into evil, maybe the character becomes clever with the passage of time. And by the end of the story, he or she is not the same character we observe in the beginning of the story. Now we come to the next type of character, which is a static. Static character, as the title itself refers, is the character which does not change at all. They may be the side characters, for example, the parents of the hero or the friends of the heroine. They are the side characters and maybe they're not observed to be changing at all. Now I'm going to move on to our next slide. The next basic element is setting of a story. What is the setting in the first place? Setting is the space, or setting is the place where your story is happening. For example, if a story is about student life, it may take place in an academic setting. The characters may be shown in a college or a school. So the setting of that particular story is college or the institute where the whole story is taking place. Now there are two types of settings. One is backdrop setting and the other one is integral setting. The backdrop setting, this type of setting can be the backdrop for almost any story. The time period and physical place do not affect the plot in a major way. For example, most fairy tales take place in a distant kingdom during the Renaissance period, However, the themes of these stories do not depend on their backdrop. Now see, um, any setting to, 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 to be to be to make it convenient, let me put it in a very simple way for you to understand. Any setting which does not have any significant effect on your story, in that case, that setting is backdrop setting. But if the story is happening somewhere where it completely or comparatively the major part of the story depends on the setting, then it is integral setting, the second type of setting that we are going to look at. You will be able to understand it clearly if you may compare both the settings. Let me explain it to you. An integral setting is a time or place that directly affects the plot. Alternatively, the story depends on that setting as an integral element. For example, the characters in William Golding's Lord of the Flies create a society on a deserted island where their plane has crashed. Now, maybe you have not, maybe you do not know about these examples which I have quoted here. That is why I am quoting a very common example of Titanic. So almost every one of us have seen Titanic as a movie. And we see that Titanic has happened in a ship. And ship is an integral setting because the story could not have happened otherwise. And that is why this setting is playing a major role and has an effect on the story. And that is why this type of setting is integral setting. We're definitely going to relate all our discussion in the end to blog writing. So in the beginning, I am just giving you an explanation. If you want to compose your own story or a narrative, how can you do it by picking up the simple elements?
Madam, can you repeat this setting thing, because there have been some questions they have been asking that. Can you repeat, please?
Yes, the backdrop setting. Yes, Suhail Musa, you're right. The backdrop setting does not have direct impact upon your story. Now, let me give you a very general example. If you're showing a husband and wife's story who keep on fighting, now maybe this story can simply be placed in a simple house where they are shown to be living. And since the house does not have any such impact or directly integrated with the story, so this type of story, this type of setting is called as backdrop setting. But if you place the same husband and wife in their ancestral house and the issue is related to their ancestors or family, now here the house is playing integral part, and that is why this is integral setting. And maybe you need to describe that setting a little more in detail for making your readers understand that how important is that ancestral belonging to both of them and why are they fighting. Since the theme is directly related to the setting, and that is why you need to explain it and bring the description of that setting into your writing. May I have your response if you people have understood? Thank you, Samya. Thank you, Mahad. Thank you, Komal. All right. Okay, Amna. Let's move on. Conflict in story writing. This is very important. What is conflict in the first place? Conflict is the issue. Now, when I ask my 6-year-old or 9-year-old to compose a story, maybe he or she is inclined to compose a story which does not have a conflict at all. And any story which does not have a conflict cannot bring the readers or the audience along with them. Because conflict is integral to human nature. There is always a conflict when there are two people. And that's what the basic purpose of writing a story is, to highlight the types of conflicts we have in our society. So the conflict is the major issue. The conflict is the problem that is going to be focused in that particular story which you're writing. If you do not have a conflict in the story, it means that there is no story at all. A story cannot be completed without a conflict. For example, there are few Hollywood or Bollywood stories which are so happily arranged that they lose their audience because there's no conflict and the audience is not excited to read or view that story at all. Or maybe at times when we watch such movies which we find very boring or time wasting. Why is that? Because they do not have a very, they may not have a very interesting conflict to reveal or any problem that their audience is facing. And that is why, sorry, their characters are facing. And that is why the viewers or the audience or the readers do not pay attention to that story at all. So we need to have a problem. The problem faced by the characters in the story and how do they resolve it. That's what the basic adventure and the interesting part is, right? Let me explain you the two types of conflicts in the story. I would be very grateful to you if you people can please switch off your videos. This may distract the participants, and I also get a little distracted. If you can please help me and stop your video, Oppo A5s. Okay, external conflict. So the external conflict exists between a character and something else like another character, nature, society, or fate, outside of the character's control. He or she must resolve this conflict during the rising action or the climax of the story. Now see, and the example is the stepmother in Cinderella sabotages Cinderella's chance to attend the royal ball. A Cinderella's story is known to everyone almost. It's a fairy tale where the stepmother stops the the girl from attending the ball, and this was the conflict. So the conflict can be external. For example, the circumstances of your character, the fate of your character, or maybe the social norms your character is placed in, or maybe the conventional setup of the society he or she is into. These all can be the external conflicts. And what is the other type of conflict that we are going to talk about?
Let's ask the participants. What can be the other?
I have shared the slide. Yes, it's internal conflict.
Okay.
Well, now I will pose a very tricky question since you have already answered this simpler one. My next question is going to be a bit tricky. Let me see who answers that one. Okay, so the internal conflict is the conflict faced by your character struggling with themselves. For example, if they're insecure about something, they have fear about something, they have disorder, they have some internal conflict which has nothing to do with their circumstances or external fate or destiny or nature or social setup. Rather, they're struggling with their own selves. That is internal conflict. Maybe your character is in depression and anxiety. Maybe they are dealing with some chronic disease. Maybe there is no problem as such apparently, but they're being sensitive about the circumstances around them, and which is disturbing them mentally, and they're unable to cope up with the surrounding. This is internal conflict. Now my question is, what do you think? Can only be there one conflict? Yes, flashback. Amna Afzal, you're right. To be or not to be? Yes, sir. Nadeem Akhtar, you're very right. Hamlet's to be or not to be. Like negative thoughts, very true. Like the Joker, yes, the Joker in the character, the movie, the character in the movie Joker was facing the internal conflict. Very right, Adiba. Zero communication or intrapersonal conflict, yes. Where they're unable to communicate properly the issue that they're facing. Okay, now my question is, do you think that a story can only have one type of conflict at a time? Yes, Omar, right. Not necessarily. They can be both. Even in Shakespeare's Hamlet, true. Oh my God, so many answers.
Yeah.
Okay, true. In Shakespeare's Hamlet, the Hamlet himself was the victim of both of the conflicts, internal and external. Okay, please explain again the difference between internal and external conflict. Internal conflict is simply the conflict or the problem going on in the brain of your character. And external conflict is a conflict which he or she faces in the name of circumstances. For example, if your character is facing a chronic disease, this is an internal conflict and the mental issue that he's facing. An external conflict is the conflict outside the character. So what is happening outside his character? People are fighting with him, they are against with him, he doesn't have a good reputation among them, and he is struggling for self-approval. Okay. तो एक्सटर्नल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एक तरह का उर्दू में क्या कहेंगे इसको,
जो के अंदर जो उसके अंदर इनसिक्योरिटीज,
जो इंतशार, दिमागी इंतशार है, जो आपके दिमाग में इंतशार है, उस परेशानी, उस मसले का नाम इंटरनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, अंदरूनी इंतशार है, क्योंकि वो आपके दिमाग में चल रहा है, वो कैरेक्टर के दिमाग में चल रहा है. और अगर आपका कैरेक्टर स्टोरी में बाहर के कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स फेस कर रहा है जिसमें ऐसा लड़ाई, ऐसा झगड़ा, ऐसा मसला मौजूद है जिसका ताल्लुक उसके इर्द गिर्द के लोगों और हालात से है, तो ये एक्सटर्नल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है. Right?
Is it clear, everybody?
Isn't fate an internal conflict? No, Mariam, fate is not an internal conflict. It is an external conflict. You become, yes, psychological issue is the internal conflict. Yes, internal
Ifra,
conflict can be. Yes, Ifra, internal conflict can be caused by the external conflict. Yes, Dawood in Kite Runner, he was more facing the internal and external both conflicts. Yes, mental disorder can be internal conflict. Oedipus Rex has both internal and external conflicts, right? We have a lot of literature people here.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So those who have already read Hamlet, they would know what, I mean, the both conflicts within.
Sir, they have read Othello and they have read Oedipus Rex as well, beyond Hamlet. Is it necessary to mention internal conflict while telling? Good question. Yes, fate. No, I don't think so that fate can be internal or external. Fate is external conflict. When there is some coincidence, some happening outside, and then you take it on your nerves, then it becomes internal conflict. But that internal thinking is internal conflict, not the fate itself. Fate is an external conflict.
Let's move
Okay,
on.
very important question. Can we write down can we write down that this is an internal or external conflict while writing a story? Well, story writing is while writing a story, you do not need to mention any of the elements that this is the internal conflict that character is facing. You do not do it that way. What happens when you watch movies? You just see the movies, you just see your characters, and you observe them facing the internal or the external conflict. So we are learning them as writers so that we may incorporate external or internal conflict as per our need and understanding. Yes, it is very important to grab the internal conflicts usually make a person indecisive. Yes, at times. It is very important to grab the attention of the reader through internal conflict. True.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the situation and attention. Yes. All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah.
See, there is no fixed formula for anything. We're going to discuss this in the end. Let me move on. Please allow me to move on. Okay, theme. Theme is another important element. The theme is the story's big idea or underlying message about life. It can be one word that embodies what a story is trying to say, or it can be a longer phrase. Themes are the gist or central idea of the story. For example, if I have shown my character going on a voyage or a journey and he's about to sail, and after sailing he has encountered different adventures, but he kept on trying and did not lose hope, and at last he achieved whatever goals he wanted to achieve. This is the subject of the story. A character is on voyage, is sailing, is traveling, has planned to achieve some goals. Now, what is the theme? The theme is trials, failure and success, hardships, courage, bravery with which he faced the circumstances. So these are the themes, and they're very important. Themes can be love, hatred, friendship, enmity, failure, success, victory, bravery, chivalry. These are the themes of the stories that we watch daily. What are the characters doing? Characters are moving from one event to the other. That is the subject. But what are the underlying factors? They are facing certain issues and they are trying to resolve them. And then what is the theme? It can be struggle. Can you all give me examples of few more okay, Shanila, I'm going to reply your answer. Let me first please ask the audience about, no, genre and theme are not same. Genre and theme are not same. Amna Afzal, what do you mean by Arthugrul here? Yes, friendship. Friendship is a theme. Freedom, very good. Liberty, very good. It's a theme. Genre means type. Blasphemy,
Yes.
very good. Blasphemy.
Yes.
Empowerment can be theme.
Yes.
Excellent. Exploitation, very good.
Yes.
Usurpation, very good. Revolution.
Sadia Khan, instead of raising your hand, can you write down your question in the chat box? Sadia Khan?
G.
Fear, yes.
Death, yes. All right, let me explain. Yes, Ertugrul means courage, bravery, hope. Yes, these are the themes. Okay. The question was nationalism, patriotism. Patriotism. Let me explain what is the difference between genre and theme. These are completely two different words. Genre means type or category of anything in the world. For example, stories can be fiction or non-fiction. For example, stories can be realistic or unrealistic. For example, what genre of story would you like to choose? Fiction or non-fiction? Would you like to compose a real story or an unreal story? This is genre. And what is theme? Theme is then, after deciding your genre, you decide on what theme would you like to compose your story on. Maybe you would want to write upon luck, fate, failure, success, chivalry, courage, bravery. These are the themes. So these are completely two different things.
Maruf, we would be answering your questions. We might have skipped it at the end because we have moved forward. I think you might have asked that question quite earlier. Sayyid Maruf, we would answer that question at the end.
Yes, horror and romance are the examples of genre. Novel, poetry, novella, short story, ballet, these are the types or genre. Very good. Very good. Genres are composed of different themes. No, here we are not talking about those themes of which the genre is composed. That is something completely different. War. No. Yes, once you decide genre, then you decide on your theme. Let's forget about this word genre here. It has nothing to do with theme at all.
Yes, I
Science
think we
fiction.
should move. Yes, we
Mahat,
should move
that's
forward.
science fiction. All right, okay, let's move on. Thematic motifs. Sometimes you can find clues for a story's theme. Sometimes you can find clues for a story's themes in its motifs, which are repeated images, sounds, words, feelings, or other story elements. For example, presence of a lamp in the movie Devdas is a symbol of the love as it kept on lightening till the hero dies. Well, see, when we compose a story, we may use certain things, any entity, living or non-living, as our motif through which we want to convey the meaning, or through which we make our theme more deliverable. For example, the presence of lamp in the movie Devdas. Or for example, maybe if you talk about the symbolic representation or a motif, you may look at the pendant. You may look at the pendant which the heroine of Titanic had at the end of the story. That was symbolic. That was a motif. So motifs are the images. They can be in form of sounds or words or feelings which come time and again. For example, all those who have read Kite Runner, these words for you 1,000 times over. These are motifs. Those were the thematic motifs. Can you all give me an example of a motif? Can you please give us the example of can you all okay, yes, we're ready to go. Hourglass. Hourglass in many movies and books. Wonderful. Wonderful. In The Lighthouse, the motif is hope. Yes, it is hope. True. Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. Who else? Red roses. Yes, red roses are symbolic or the motifs in many stories. For example, if you want to display that the characters are in love or they're doing romance, then in that case, yes, tricking of clock. The scar on Harry, very true. The scar on Harry Potter's forehead, wonderful. Red star in Games of Thrones, true. Wonderful. The magic stick, chirping of birds, wonderful. Sea and sun setting, very nice. Even darkness in some situations is violin, yes. Yes, face was showing dark stars background. The house with a clock in its wall, very true. Moonlight, very true. Thank you so much, that's wonderful. Sunlight, true. Okay, let's move on. Point of view. Now we're going to discuss the point of view of story writing. The blood moon, yes. Horizon, the old house with bad condition in horror movie. Very true, Fatma. Correct. Okay, now we're going to discuss the point of view. See, even though the main character is the central figure of the story, the point of view or perspective of the story may not be theirs. Sometimes the story uses a narrator to tell the story. Now see, this is, we may understand this. We may understand this. 1 minute, there is some all right. So when we write stories, they are not always written through the perspective of the characters. They may be written through any other perspective. For example, you may have a background narrator for that. Or maybe you say that you are, maybe you yourself is narrating the story. So with different perspectives, you may narrate the same story. In the first person point of view, the person telling the story is a character, usually the main character, but not always, and speaks from an I perspective. For example, Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. When you yourself are telling your story, or when you assume that this story belongs to you and you take on the perspective of the narrator, then this is known as first person, right? Hope this is clear. When you write a story using I or the first person, that is the first person point of view. Second person. A second person's point of view, all right, thank you. Second person point of view allows the reader to experience story through a you perspective. This point of view is not as common as first or third person point of views. For example, R.A. Montgomery, Journey Under the Sea, from the Choose Your Own Adventure story. Now you may not know about this story, but let me explain this to you. In this, the narrator or the storyteller brings himself or herself in the position of the you approach, where they they speak to you as they are talking to the reader. And this is a second person. This is not very common approach to write because it is not easy to handle. And there are very few pieces in which the you approach is applied. But what does a writer do in this second person narrative is that they apply the you approach where they speak to you as if you're present there. This point of view is not as common as the first or the third person point of view. Let's move on. A third person narrator tells a story that is happening to other people. The narrator can be omniscient, where they know about all events and characters, or limited, where they follow only one or a few characters. For example, Joseph Miller's Catch-22. Now let me leave this example and tell you in the simple words that if you become an omniscient narrator, it means that you are actually, okay, yes, student of the year, yes, friends, right, right. Okay, now in third person, you become an omniscient narrator. This is the first person and the third person are the easier way to narrate a story. Because in this situation, you almost take the lead and you believe that you know all and you kind of narrate the events. So for example, in the third person, you're not there at all. You are not there at all. Rather, you're telling someone's story or something that happened with them. And then you are describing the events, going into the detail. So you have liberty to describe to the extent and make it creative as much as you can. Okay. Now tone. The final element is the tone of the story. Tone is the general feeling of a story or scene which the author establishes with vivid word choice. All of the previous elements must be consistent in order to achieve the desired tone. This is very important. The tone of a writer, can be humorous, happy, sad, pessimistic, optimistic. He or she can use satire. So in maintaining the tone, what do you think? What helps you the most? How do you maintain the tone while writing a story? Can anybody explain this to me? May I have the responses, please? Yes. Okay. How do you, okay, let's come back, let's come out of the movies. We are speaking here only about writing. How are you going to maintain tone while writing? How would your readers know that what tone are, by using adjectives, by using words? Yes. Adjectives, adverbs, exclamation marks, use of punctuations. Very good. True. You may use such words which throw an impression. Yes, when you are actually emphasizing on something and then you use, inverted commas. Yes. Okay, I will get back to this impressive language by Dawood. I have to discuss this. This is very important. Yes, words, mainly words. Quotations, yes, words. Yes, waiting for Godot. What an example and reference. Wonderful. So what should you consider the most? Now, so far we have learned about all the elements that should be there in the story. Now we are going to review what is beyond all these elements, which is important for writing a story. Effective storytelling involves a deep understanding of human emotions, motivations, and psychology in order to truly move an audience. I would say this is the gist of whatever we have learned today. If you do not know how to connect, you may learn the elements. I may teach you, or anybody can teach you what are the elements. We may learn together what are the elements. But learning this technicality of understanding human emotions, motivations, and psychology, and then putting them into words is the true art of storytelling. If you have learned the elements and you do not know how to project the emotions and feelings and motivations and psychology, it means you cannot write an engaging story, or anybody cannot write an engaging story. Firstly, as Dawood has said, impressive words. Let's come out of that zone. Impressive, I shared one of my write-up in the bloggers WhatsApp group, in which I used a lofty language and very difficult adverbial and adjectival phrases. It became monotonous and boring. And after reading and after publication a few times later, when I looked back at the same write-up which I had composed, and I was very excited for getting it published, I found that I could make it more interesting by using simple words. Because the simpler, the better. Using impressive language does not only mean using difficult vocabulary. It may lead to boredom and monotony. You should use simple words, but with impactful and deep meanings and insight. Because it is the meanings which are very important. All right. Yes, by using idiomatic phrases like alchemist. Yes, alchemist is in simple words, but it has deep meanings. It is insightful. So the idea and themes and concepts and emotions and feelings projected in that write-up or story are very important. It is not very important that you should know hard English and complex vocabulary for writing a story. Story can be written in simple words. If it is understandable, it is deep, it is interesting, it is insightful, it is meaningful, and it has all the elements which a story should have, it is going to be successful.
Let's have a recap, I think.
Storytelling is the greatest technology that humans have ever created. Sir, I need to cover how can they bring this storytelling into blog writing.
Yes, but I was thinking that many of them, they have just in 5 minutes, just I mean, quick recap, and then we move forward.
Okay. Yes, Amna, true. Yes, graphics and vivid description can also be used. Imagery should be used. We are going to discuss all these techniques in the next session. We discussed about what is a story, and then we spoke about why should we learn storytelling. We spoke about the basic elements of a story, in which we spoke about the simple plot, and then we discussed that we may tweak and twist our plot a little for making it more interesting. Then we spoke about the types of characters. Then we spoke about the setting of a story, that the setting of a story is something where story happened, how it happened, and what was, the background or the integral settings. Then we spoke about conflict in story writing. There are two types of conflicts: internal and external conflicts. The conflicts faced by the character, by the outside forces, and the conflicts by the internal, faced by the character due to his own thoughts is the internal conflict. Then we spoke about theme, which is the gist or the underlying idea. Then we spoke about the thematic motives, which are the symbols which we use. Then we spoke that through how many perspectives, there are three perspectives through which simple perspectives for the initial, for the beginners. There are mainly three perspectives through which we can write the story. And we spoke about the tone. So that's what we covered today. And now we are going to discuss how can we incorporate this into blog writing. Basically, blog writing is storytelling. And if you have this art, you maybe, yes, I'm not true. You maybe you will be able to, there are many ways of composing a narrative. There are many ways in which, through which you may project about the different social issues you face on daily basis, especially. And if you're going to do them in a form of a story, it is going to be more interesting. So we are ready to take the questions.
Yes, first the question from Sayyida, I think Maro. She had asked the question and we promised her that we would be answering it at the end of the session. If she's there, can you please repeat your question?
Yes, ventilation of feeling is catharsis.
Yes, any other questions?